I moved to Tennessee about 8 years ago, and I moved out here to do music full time. I really never thought that I would write a book. It wasn't ever something I'd planned on doing in my life, but after I moved out here, I started having these crazy experiences, some good and interesting, but most of them just insane and very hard and not great. And as I went through some of this chaos, a lot of my friends and family from home were saying, Brittany, you really need to write a book. And I thought, well, yeah, sure, someday, but I would tell them all the same thing, yeah, there might be something to that, but I would really like to see a little more victory before I write a book, because no one's going to want to read it otherwise. So fast forward a few years later, I'd gone through all of this crazy stuff and some really hard things and some pretty big betrayals and some trauma. And my way of dealing with it at the time was to just keep going, to keep working, to keep doing life, to keep trusting God in the midst, which is great, but I wasn't taking time to really heal what I'd gone through. And I just got to this place where I realized I was numb. My faith was stagnant and numb, and I wasn't living to live anymore. I was living to survive, and I didn't want to live like that anymore. I remembered what it was like to have this faith on fire and to have this joy and exuberance for life, and I wanted that back. So I really took some time to dig deep and do the healing that I needed to. And during that process of searching for my healing and working to heal, I found a faith that I had really never known. I really saw God's heart in a deeper way, because I wasn't just going to counseling, I was digging into the Bible in a deeper way too, and finding more truth than what I had learned growing up. And in the process of that, I found this faith that came with a freedom and a peace that was in the midst of the storm. It was in the midst of things still being messy. And that's really the place that this book comes from, learning to believe again. I still hadn't planned on writing a book, but at the time, while I was going through this healing process, I started doing monthly newsletters for the folks that follow me via email for my music, and I was sharing a thought of the month, and I was really just sharing whatever revelations I had had recently or what I was going through. And in the process of doing that, people were telling me that I was making this huge difference for them. I would get these email responses saying, your thought of the month just changed something for me entirely. Thank you so much. And as I was getting these messages, I thought, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I should write a book, and maybe instead of it being something that's autobiographical or being something where I'm waiting for this perfect ending or this perfect victory, maybe that's not what people need. Maybe what people really need is to hear about healing through the mess, because life really isn't about a destination, and it's not like we just reach this perfect end at some point. It's about a journey. And my healing journey is what I poured into the pages of this book. That faith and that hope and that peace that I found during my process is what this book, Learning to Believe Again, was birthed out of. And my hope truly is that everybody that reads it gets some of the same hope and peace and freedom that I got going through my healing process. When you're learning to believe again, 'cause I'm learning to believe again.